You mentioned last time you were on, which I think was 2023, maybe.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
You said, "Oh, I might leave America. It's 2027.
We're right on schedule.
We're right on.
Yeah.
Are you trying? Are you thinking about doing that still?
Absolutely. Not even thinking about it.
Okay.
It's like,
Like
that is the target. I mean, spring of 27 is the actual, it's on our calendar in our Google documents, right?
Wow.
That's when we are wheels up.
Where are you going to go? Or is that a secret?
Yeah, we're not telling anybody where we're going.
Yeah.
We'll give you a list of our favorite places, but
I'm wondering well, first of all, why 2027? Just because of the kids' schooling stuff? Or
so we were looking at 2030 as kind of like our drop dead. But then as the world has changed from 2023 till today, we've also decided to kind of increase our timeline. There's a lot of things that go into it. We want our children to have a second language. We want our children to try to get a citizenship in a foreign country, which means that we need to be cognizant of when they turn 18. Which matters, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got different countries with different requirements for citizenship, blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of things there, but the main driving force for my wife and for me related to our kids is to get them a second citizenship, not residency. So they have a second passport so they can choose for the rest of their life whether they want to show the blue passport or some other passport, right? But then simultaneously to that, you also have very real security concerns in the United States. There's very real economic concerns in the United States, and diversity, like options, are a benefit. And that's not just for us. We're actually finding that 53% of wealthy Americans, meaning Americans with a net worth of $5 million or more, 53% of them have already left the United States in terms of investment or dual citizenship or golden visas.
I see. Interesting. So if I invest in something abroad, that's considering leaving the United States.
If you invest to an extent where you can now essentially live there half the year or live there for longer. So if you buy property, if you buy a business, if you do something like, I mean,
53%?
53%. And
I'm going to have to get that citation. That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. And it's expected to hit 60% in the next 2 years. So that's one out of every two. One out of every two wealthy Americans are already diversifying their interests outside of the United States, giving themselves essentially, whether it's an escape strategy or a growth strategy or something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically we fall into that because our kids have some documents from Taiwan/China. And then even I do. Like, even I'm like, the papers are in the system or whatever. And I basically have to just start paying insurance. And then it's like, as soon as I set foot there, the clock starts going, and then you get a residence, and then you convert that to a passport, and then China invades and you end up Chinese. I mean, LOL, right? No, but not really. But it's possible. Like, my friends are always joking. They're like, "So you're just going to be a white Chinese guy?" And I'm like, that could happen.
Happened in Hong Kong.
Yeah, exactly. Happened in Hong Kong. And those people, I think they still have Hong Kong passports, but that's just an administrative. That's a form. They could phase those out tomorrow and reissue China passports. Where do people have it better? Europe is good, man, but there's a lot of reasons that Europe is maybe not going to be super stable. Have you seen the defense stocks in Europe are going up? That's
so they're doing the same thing in the United States.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But, so it's important. It's important. Like, people like to throw around generalized terms like better. I would argue there's no place.
Safer. Where is it safer?
And again, safer can in still some ways be a generic term.
Sure.
So I don't want people to think of it in terms of safer or better or really anything that ends in an
Okay.
It's really a question of, for you individually, where do you see the most opportunity for what you're trying to achieve? For us, if we want our children to have a second citizenship, we want our children to have fluency in a second language, we want our children to also understand how special the United States is. Because here's what's sad and depressing. 98% of Americans have no concept of how actually different and special the United States is.
No, of course not. No, well, you can see the discourse online. And I'm going to move to North Korea. My brother in Christ, go for it. Please spend a week there and don't run. You'll be swimming back to the United States.
Yeah, people don't understand how special it is here. And you can't explain it, and you can't define it, and you can't watch it in a movie and be like, oh, I really appreciate being American. You have to live it. You have to live it. You have to see it. And we want that for our children. We want them to live, breathe, see, feel what it's like to be, even just abroad for an extended period of time, so that they can come to truly appreciate why it is worth the fight to stay to stay a free America.
I'm curious what your perspective is on the Middle East. I wouldn't move there. I don't want to live under an authoritarian regime of any kind. And I don't know if you can find a place in the Middle East that's not really touched by that or
don't tell them that.
Yeah, yeah. No, of course not. But also, I have a little girl. I don't want to subject her to a lot of that stuff. And, I think that's going to offend people, but like, I don't know if I care. I think it's pretty. Is it controversial that women don't have the same kind of treatment in the Middle East as they do in the United States?
It's an overgeneralization. You have an American girl.
Yeah.
She's fine. If you are born a Muslim Arabic girl, that's a different story.
Well, yeah.
Especially if you're born a poor Muslim, Arabic girl. That's completely different than a wealthy Arabic Muslim girl.
So you're saying that since I'm a foreigner, we're outsiders, we would be, there's leeway when it comes to that.
And that's a super important distinction, man, because when people try to make the argument like, oh, where are you going to find this better than the United States? If you're an American, there are lots of options where you have more opportunities than you do in the United States. An American living abroad in Spain has better opportunities than any Spaniard and better opportunities than any American in the United States.
Say more about that, because I think a lot of people are...
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
Not sure how that works.
So when you're an American abroad, depending on what community you land in, they may already have a preferential opinion of the United States, and they're going to bend over backwards to help you, support you, become your friend. You're going to find people more interested in helping and supporting your business, your family, your job hunt, etc., just because you are American. Whereas here in the United States, you're just another American. So why the would anybody try to help you, right? Where abroad, they want to help you because, of course, they want to be friends with an American. They want access to the American dollar. They want access to, your network. They want access to your whatever. They might just think that you're super rich because to them, you are super rich, even though you make $35,000 a year. Who knows, right? So there's that opens up opportunities immediately just because of a passport that you're carrying. People are going to help you find an apartment. They're going to help you furnish it. They're going to help you find everything you can think of. That does not happen here in the United States. Now, simultaneously, if you go to a anti-American country, you can expect the opposite. You can expect, immediate criticism, immediate bias. You can expect people to bully you or push you around. And that's your choice if that's what you want to do. Yeah. Or if you're an American traveling on a Canadian passport.
You know what, though?
You can hide that.
I will say, I wanted to go to a place that was anti-American. So I went to Serbia in 2004, 2003. I was like, we just bombed this place. Surely everyone hates Americans. You know what? There was a lot of that, but it was also like, that's pretty cool, man. You're from the United States. I mean, we hate you guys, but like, you're cool. I mean, it's fine. Tell me more about where you grew up. Like, people are like, you're the enemy, but also never met an American before. Or like, the only American I met was a guy we took prisoner in Bosnia, and we didn't get to talk to him very much. Right? That people actually told me.
It's funny. I mean, if you think about it, what would happen? Honestly, put yourself in anywhere in Missouri or Minnesota, and a Cuban moves in.
Sure.
There's going to be plenty of people who are like, there's a Cuban down the street. Right. But there's going to be even more people who are like, I've never met a Cuban.
That's right. Let's invite him over for dinner.
Let's invite him over for dinner. But like, well, 3 other people moved into the neighborhood. Why are you inviting the Cuban guy? Because he's a Cuban guy.
Exactly.
Right? I want to learn their music. I've always wondered about plantains. Who knows why? But they're going to get extra attention just because they're different.
Man, it was probably 1989, my neighbor had a Russian guy come and stay at his house. And I was like, oh, Russian guy. My parents were like, really? Wow, what is he like? And I was like, well, he has offensively strong body odor. This guy was probably, I mean, I was a little kid, so he seemed like a giant. He had like a huge beard. And I remember being like, this guy has not had a bath in a really, really long time. He was super nice guy, super friendly guy. But I remember him just being blown away. We had a computer in the house and he was like, what is this machine? Because he'd never seen one before. I mean, computers were relatively new then anyway, and he had never seen one. And then he was like, I can't believe that everybody has a car. He's like, I don't even know anybody who has a car in the Soviet Union. Like, I don't know a single person that has one. There's taxis. That's it. Those are the things I remember him telling us because his English was pretty limited. But yeah, we were fascinated by this guy.
And
Absolutely
he broadened your understanding of
Definitely.
life.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it wasn't, light years, he broadened you more than the average person who never heard, who couldn't even conceptualize the idea of somebody an adult not having a car.
Although I will say their stereotype that all the Russians were like big, strong bears, where you're like, well, that part's true. Because this guy, I remember his hands were so huge. They like eclipsed. Again, I was a kid, but, I've shaken an adult hand. This guy was like, it was like really strong. And he would pick us up and throw us around because that was another thing. That he wasn't afraid to like wrestle around and like throw things at us or like throw us around the house. It was fun. And it was just he was less gentle, I think, than a lot of other people, and you could tell he like loved kids and was just a fun dude, but he couldn't speak, so he had to do a lot more of that. Anyway, you're right. The whole like, oh, this person's an enemy, it doesn't really hold up at the cultural level. It's more of like a policy level kind of thing.
So when we talk about that more opportunity thing, because that's how we got on that, right? More opportunities if you're an American living abroad in a pro-American state. But then when you start thinking about your children, when you start thinking about your own kind of long-term maybe health or well-being, I mean, my wife's not so secret dream is that our children will meet and fall in love with non-American children or non-American fiancés or spouses or whatever, right? And then immediately be children of the world, right?
I see.
Because they'll get married and they'll have the new citizenship that they are marrying into, the citizenship that we help them receive, plus their American citizenship. Their children will have the choice of all three. And not only does that give you options in just community, but it's every one of them has a different educational system. Every one of them has a different welfare system. Every one of them has a different healthcare system. Every one of them has a different access to other countries. The United States cannot go to Iran. If you carry a Turkish passport, you can walk right into Iran, right? And that's not to say that you want to go to Iran, but
you might want to research it before you do, but you can.
But there's options. Yeah.
It's true. If I've done the math on this before, and it's like, okay, if my kids have a Taiwan passport or a Chinese passport and a U.S. passport, and then they marry somebody who has a French passport and a Spanish passport or a Moroccan passport, then my grandkids will be Moroccan, Spanish, Taiwanese Americans.
Now, what makes you even go down that path? Do you see what I mean?
It's just interesting, but also healthcare system. Like my insurance policy is if I get debilitating cancer, and Kaiser Permanente is like, oh, see that line 48 of page 306? Sorry. I'm just like, well, I'm going to Taipei because I've been paying $30 a month for health insurance for 20 years. I'm going to have them cure my cancer. And it's a better healthcare system in the United States anyway.
And right there kind of demonstrates to me that wealthy way of thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can put $30 a month into something that you don't even see.
Right.
And then the idea of relocating your whole house, not to another state, but to another country on the other side of the world that is clearly in the crosshairs of a nearby neighbor.
Right.
Even when you do all that, you're still like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
We'll drop $15,000 or $7,000 or however much to fly everybody and relocate there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The average household can't do that. Can't even conceptualize it. They can try. They can ask and borrow money from friends. True. They can take a loan. They can sell their car and have $10,000 in cash tomorrow.
That is true.
But they don't even think of it. That is literally a mindset of the wealthy, because the wealthy are always trying to protect the assets they have.
I think also partly, I've always kind of been this way, right? I was an exchange student in high school. So that got me thinking internationally from an early age. And I studied abroad because I was like, hey, you don't have to take accounting 101 and calculus. You can get other credits while you screw around in like this place. And then they caught on to that. And they're like, no, we're going to make people take those classes there. And I'm like, what if I go to a place that doesn't have an official University of Michigan study abroad program? They're like, we have it in 32 countries. And I'm like, what about Ukraine? And they're like, no. Can I go there? Yeah, but we have to approve it. Okay, fine. I'm taking Russian and Ukraine, which I did. And they were like, fine. I mean, I feel like half of my life's achievements were reluctantly handed me, like, here you go, you son of a bitch. Like I'm watching you. You technically, what's it called? Malicious compliance.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm going to follow this to the T to your own detriment. And even though like that's not what you intended, make your own concentration, study abroad in a place that they didn't approve, but they said they kind of,
they have to.
Their hands are tied. They have to. anyway, you're right. A lot of people don't conceptualize this, but I think this show, I try to help people do that because you don't have to be a millionaire to get a second passport.
Correct.
You just have to go, my grandpa was Irish.
Yep.
And then you got to mail in some forms and $300 and suddenly you're Irish too, or whatever.
Even better, you can apply to become a teacher in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you'll go to South Korea as a teacher. And then once you're there, you can flip your visa and you can be like, I'd like to work towards residency now. And you can still teach.
Yes.
Right. So now you're getting paid to live somewhere else, to work towards a second passport. You're learning a second language. You're on your own. Right. So there's all sorts of opportunities all over the world if, like you said, someone can open your eyes to them.